Ferrari just tested 20 different setups in their simulator. Not 2, not 5, 20. And now they're telling the world the SF-25 is finally ready to deliver in Japan. But let's be honest, when a top-tier F1 team runs that many changes in a panic window, it's not a breakthrough, it's a crisis. They're calling it a fix. But if the car was so strong all along, why were both Hamilton and Leclerc disqualified in China? Why does the floor stop generating grip the second they touch full fuel load? Why does the car collapse the moment it strays from a perfect setup window? In this video, we're breaking down what Ferrari won't say out loud, how the suspension has been fighting itself from day one, why Hamilton's sprint win exposed the truth, and why Suzuka is either Ferrari's redemption or their public unraveling. This isn't hype. This is the moment of truth. So if you're tired of press releases, tired of sugar-coated analysis, smash the like, hit subscribe, and stay locked in, because this is Paddock Insider. No spin, no fluff, just facts. Let's not pretend Ferrari's season started slow. It started badly. In Australia, they only realized the car was running too low to the ground after Friday practice. That's not bad luck. That's basic incompetence. And it tells you everything about the internal chaos at Maranello. The SF-25 might be fundamentally good, but when the team doesn't understand its own machinery, all the potential in the world means nothing. Red Bull would never make this kind of error. Mercedes wouldn't. But Ferrari, it's become expected, and that's the problem. Not the pace, but the process. Let's talk about those 20 different simulator setups. That's not a normal number. That's borderline frantic. It shows how uncertain the team was after China, but at the same time, it also shows effort. It means they didn't just throw up their hands and blame the drivers or the track. They went deep into the data, they tried every possible combination, and they found something they believe in. Now, whether that belief translates to pace on the track, that's another story. But you have to give credit where it's due. At least this time, Ferrari are trying to solve the problem at its core, not just patch it with a press release. Here's something few people are willing to say. The SF-25 wasn't just sensitive, it was at war with itself. The pull rod front suspension, brought back for the first time in over a decade, was designed to help turn in an aero balance. But it clashed with the behavior of the rear. So instead of a unified balanced chassis, Ferrari had a front and rear working against each other. That's why the car felt unpredictable. That's why drivers couldn't find consistency. It wasn't about driving style, it was about mechanical conflict. And now they're finally adjusting the balance between front and rear suspension for Suzuka. It's late, but it's necessary. While Leclerc was getting headlines, it was Hamilton who told us the truth. He dominated the Chinese sprint with a car that's only good in a narrow operating window. That win wasn't just a drive, it was a message. This car can win if you know how to use it. But here's the catch. That win only came in ideal conditions. Low fuel, stable track, light setup. Once you go outside that perfect window, the car unravels. So the sprint didn't prove Ferrari had pace. It proved they had potential. And Hamilton? He's the one dragging that potential out of the SF-25 by sheer force of will. Let's get brutally honest. Ferrari's problem isn't a mystery, it's the ride height. The SF-25 only works when it's perfectly placed. Centimeters off and the floor stops generating downforce. Go too low, the plank scrapes and you get disqualified. Like Hamilton in China. Go too high? You lose grip and the car slides. There's no margin. It's like driving a tightrope at 300 kilometers per hour. That's not a setup challenge. That's a design vulnerability. And unless Ferrari can widen that operating window, they're not just fighting the competition, they're fighting physics. Yes, Ferrari looked good in China. Yes, Hamilton won the sprint. But let's not pretend that was the whole story. McLaren completely botched their sprint qualifying. Norris and Piastri started too far back, and Piastri spent half the sprint stuck behind slower cars. By the time he got free, Hamilton was long gone. So was Ferrari fast? Yes, but the margin looked bigger than it really was. The sprint was more about McLaren's mistake than Ferrari's dominance. And that's important, because if Ferrari thinks they're ahead based on that one result, they're setting themselves up for another fall. What's coming next matters more than what just happened. Ferrari know the SF-25 isn't the finished article. That's why they're bringing upgrades to Bahrain, targeting the Coke bottle area and rear floor, and planning a more aggressive update in Miami. That shows intent, but it also confirms what many suspected. The base car was always going to need work. The good news is they're not sitting still. The bad news? Everyone else is upgrading too. And if Ferrari's breakthrough is just them catching up rather than pulling ahead, it might not be enough. There's no hiding at Suzuka. High-speed corners, elevation, surface irregularities. This is where a car's flaws get exposed. If the SF-25 survives here, it's legit. If it still struggles with balance, ride height, or stability, then nothing's fixed. It's just better masked. Suzuka doesn't care about simulator data or PR optimism. It punishes weakness. So when Ferrari say this is the race where they finally show their pace, they'd better mean it. Because after 20 simulator setups and all the talk of confidence, there's no more room for excuses. This breakthrough is good. The effort is real. The intention is serious. But the question that matters is simple. Is it already too late? Red Bull is relentless. Mercedes are rebuilding. McLaren is rising. Ferrari can't just be back on track. They have to leap forward, and fast. The gap isn't just in lap time, it's in mindset. It's in consistency. It's in leadership. For the first time in a long while, Ferrari look like they're fighting to win. But if they can't back that up on track this weekend, then it's not a breakthrough. It's just noise. So here we are. Ferrari say they've made a breakthrough, but we've heard that before. The question now isn't whether the car has pace in theory. It's whether they can finally deliver it when it matters most. No more hiding behind simulators. No more blaming conditions. No more hoping the others mess up. Because Formula One doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. And while Red Bull are relentless, McLaren are sharpening their weapons, and Mercedes are building momentum, Ferrari are still trying to figure out who they are. Is the SF-25 the car that beat everyone in the sprint? Or is it the one that collapsed under fuel and pressure 2 days later? The truth is, this weekend at Suzuka isn't just another race. It's Ferrari's truth test. And if they fail again, it's not just about the car. It's about the culture, the vision, and whether this team still knows how to win at the very top level. Because let's be honest, the fans deserve better. And Ferrari, they owe more than just promises.